Hip-hop rivalries and beefs are practically a tradition. We've seen everything from verbal jabs to diss tracks. But what happens when things get violent? Last night, the unthinkable happened. Camron was arrested, and Jim Jones is now in the hospital. This isn't just another rap feud. It's a situation that could change the game forever. Stay tuned because we're breaking down all the shocking details, and trust me, you don't want to miss this. In a shocking turn of events, the legendary Camron, who is known for his exaggerated personality and his role in the iconic Diplomats crew, was arrested last night, while Jim Jones, a longtime collaborator and fellow Dipset member, is currently in the hospital following a violent altercation. This isn't just another celebrity feud or rap beef that we've seen taking place on social media. It's about real-life repercussions. Was this an isolated incident, or was there something more going on? And why did it escalate to this point? 4. The future of both artists. In this video, we'll go over everything. From the events leading up to the arrest and hospitalization to the specifics of the altercation and the possible fallout that could affect the rap game. We'll also go into Camron and Jim Jones's history. What might have sparked the tensions to flare up? And how could it affect both their careers and the hip-hop community as a whole? Stay tuned because what we're about to reveal will make you reevaluate everything you believed you knew about these two rap legends. Let's take a step back and examine the relationship between Camron and Jim Jones. These two names are iconic in hip-hop, particularly when it comes to the Dipset movement, also known as the Diplomats. At the center of this movement were Camron and Jim Jones, two brothers in arms who created a brand that revolutionized East Coast rap in the 2000s. However, despite their public friendship, their relationship was not without its ups and downs. Even during Dipset's heyday in the mid-2000s, Camron and Jim Jones were inseparable, helped advance each other's careers, and their partnerships, such as SA and Diplomatic Immunity, are still regarded as classics today. But as time passed, rifts started to appear in the years after their heyday. Rumors of tension surfaced, but were initially kept under wraps, suggesting that their friendship was in trouble. What caused the friction? It appears that the demands of fame, money, and creative differences gradually weakened their relationship. One of the most important events that predicted their eventual fallout occurred in 2008, when Camron made headlines by disparaging Jim. Although it appeared that the two were reconciled after some time, the relationship never fully healed over the years. Both artists pursued solo careers, with Camron doing thing and becoming a fixture in the fashion industry and even dabbling in acting. In interviews, Jones claimed that Jones was attempting to the Dipset brand. He even went so far as to say that he felt like Jim was getting too big for his boots and that his ego was getting in the way of their collaboration. Despite their problems, Cam and Jim have always had a close relationship that went beyond business. They were like family. Therefore, when this recent incident occurred, it immediately attracted the attention of fans and the media. What took things to the next level? Why would two once inseparable people allow their rivalry to reach this point? To fully comprehend the seriousness of what happened, we must examine the night of the incident. It wasn't just another night in the hip-hop world. What happened shocked both fans and industry insiders. Jim Jones' hospitalization and Camron's arrest were random acts of violence, turning point in the beef between these two rap icons. Reports started to surface late that night, and the first rumors were vague, according to several sources. A violent altercation broke out at an event where Camron and Jim Jones were both present. The specifics are still unclear, but it's clear that things quickly got out of hand. The altercation reportedly started when Camron and Jim Jones got into a heated argument, which escalated from what may have been a verbal sparring match to a physical altercation. Although the specifics are still unknown, sources have suggested that the argument went beyond music or business and that it was more about respect. According to one insider, it came to a head when Camron felt Jim Jones was pushing boundaries in ways that no one had anticipated. Whether it was regarding personal or professional decisions. It appears that years of tension were released that night as things became more heated and the violence swiftly spread into the public eye, as evidenced by the security footage from the event. Allegedly showed Camron and Jim Jones fighting. And as the situation escalated, it became apparent to those in the vicinity that something serious was happening. When police arrived on the scene, Camron, who was allegedly involved in the physical altercation, was taken into custody right away, and Jim Jones, who had been hurt during the altercation, was taken to the hospital. According to reports, Jones' injuries were severe enough to necessitate immediate medical attention, and he was treated for. This is where the story becomes even murkier. Rumors began to circulate that the altercation was not just a random argument that escalated into violence. Could it have been a setup? Was there someone behind the scenes who had been stoking the fire between the two for a long time? Some reports suggested that outside forces were involved, while others conjectured that the rift between Cam and Jim was deeper than anyone realized. What is certain, though, is that this altercation has rocked the entire rap world, leaving fans who grew up listening to Dipset's iconic sound wondering, how could the relationship between these two icons end so abruptly? The fallout from the confrontation between Camron and Jim Jones was more than just a chaotic moment. It will have a lasting impact on their careers, personal lives, and the hip-hop industry as a whole. While the immediate ramifications were dramatic, Jim Jones was hospitalized, and Camron was arrested. The long-term effects are what everyone is really thinking about. What does it mean for these two icons, their legacy, and the future of their music careers? Let's first examine the legal situation surrounding Camron. Although it's unclear exactly what charges Camron is facing, he may be looking at assault charges given the reported nature of the confrontation. In previous incidents, he's managed to avoid serious consequences, but this time, things may be different. The fact that Jim Jones ended up in the hospital adds another layer to the potential legal issues. Camron has a history of run-ins with the law, but this arrest is significant in his career, especially because it involved a situation so public and violent. Fallout: will Camron be imprisoned? Will the violence turn into something more serious involving legal disputes or even retaliation? Only time will tell, but it's obvious that this incident could damage Camron's reputation in a way that has never happened before. What's even more worrisome is that Camron's arrest could have an impact on his business endeavors. He's not just a rapper, he's a brand, from his clothing line to his acting career. Camron has diversified his career, but with a high-profile arrest like this, will he be able to maintain his public image? Will his supporters continue to support him? Then there is Jim Jones, who was the most physically harmed in the altercation, despite not being arrested. Although there have been few details about his condition, it is evident that the altercation was serious in the hip-hop community. A hospitalization like this sends shockwaves through the community, especially when the injured person is a well-known figure like Jim Jones. Doctors have not yet released a full statement regarding the incident. Jones has always been open about the difficulties he's faced, from his rise in the rap game to his personal issues. But there are questions that will linger after this fight. Will Jim Jones be able to fully recover both physically and mentally? Although the injuries were severe enough to require surgery, sources close to the rapper say he's recovering well. The physical toll on Jones could have a lasting effect on his career. Even more importantly, what does his hospitalization mean for his music and his future in the hip-hop industry? What impact will it have on Dipset and hip-hop culture? Or isn't? Just a personal feud between two artists, something that affects the entire hip-hop culture. Dipset is one of the most influential rap collectives of the early 2000s. And what happens to many fans are left wondering if there is anything left of the Dipset brand. Will Camron and Jim Jones be able to get back together and bring the group back to life? Or is this the end of an era? Dipset was more than just music. It was a movement, a voice for the underdog, and a sense of unity in the chaotic world of hip-hop. Seeing two of the group's main members go from being partners in crime to fierce rivals has left many wondering if that unity can ever be restored. However, what the other members of Dipset, such as Jules Santana and Freaky Zicky, will they take sides in this fallout, or will they try to stay out of it? The violent altercation between Camron and Jim Jones has not only had immediate personal consequences, but it also has repercussions throughout their entire careers and the larger hip-hop industry. Both of these artists have the culture. But there are still questions about how this incident will affect their long-term legacy. Let's take a closer look at Camron's career and his place in hip-hop history. The group dynamic has already been tested before, and now more than ever, the future of Dipset is uncertain. From his early days with the Diplomats to his successful solo career, Camron has left an enduring impression on the hip-hop scene. He is one of the few rappers who has transcended music to become a pop culture icon. His unique style, witty banter, and unrepentant approach have earned him a devoted following that has lasted for decades. However, in the wake of his arrest and the public nature of the violence, people are beginning to wonder what means for Camron's legacy. Although his talent is undeniable, this altercation may cast a shadow over his previous achievements. His involvement in a very public and violent incident. Will this permanently damage his reputation, or will fans continue to support him because of his history and respect for him? Some people think Camron can overcome this setback using his natural charm and tenacity as he has recovered from previous setbacks. Others are speculating that this could be the beginning of the end. For his career, Jim Jones. The healing process and career impact. Jim Jones is no stranger to controversy. Known for his role in shaping the Diplomat sound, his successful solo career, and his foray into business ventures like his work in real estate, he has always been an influential figure in hip-hop. But after this violent confrontation, his future in the industry may be in jeopardy. Camron is unable to regain control of the public conversation and may face a prolonged period of negative press. The most notable aspect of the industry's sudden uncertainty is Jim Jones's tenacity. The man has faced numerous challenges in the music industry and on the streets, but the physical and psychological toll this incident may have on him could be significant. When someone who is accustomed to being the tough guy in the room is physically taken down, it alters the narrative. But what happens when a rapper with such a strong reputation is perceived as a victim? Does it make him appear weaker or more relatable? Fans' reactions are mixed, and Jim Jones's and professionally might take longer than anticipated. Will this incident force Jones to change his image in the public eye or rebrand? Or will it trigger a period of introspection during which Jones withdraws from the spotlight to concentrate on his physical and emotional recovery? Interestingly, this incident may also present Jim Jones with a chance to shed the shadow of his former collaborator, Camron. Without Camron in the picture, does Jim Jones now have the chance to establish place in hip-hop history? Will he change his strategy and find new collaborators? Or will the public's perception of this altercation the future of Dipset is at a crossroads? With Camron currently dealing with legal issues and Jim Jones recuperating from his injuries, the collective's legacy is at a crossroads. Can they survive the breakup of their core members? Will the remaining members of the collective try to hold it together? Camron and Jim Jones were at the center of the collective, along with Jules Santana, Freaky Zeke, and others. Dipset represented something much bigger than just a rap group. It was a movement that influenced fashion, street culture, and a generation of fans. It's important to consider what it means for the larger hip-hop community as well. Will other artists turn away from Camron and Jim Jones because of the controversy? Or will they support them in a show of solidarity in a culture that frequently celebrates overcoming adversity? Could this be the time that the two men find themselves receiving the support they need to rebuild? More importantly, will Dipset's influence endure in hip-hop history? Or will this altercation be the event that defines their legacy?